Good morning, my lovelies, and welcome to a very misty, very overcast and very damp Tuesday morning. I hope you're all very well. Well, it's very atmospheric this morning, lovelies. Got all this lovely mist knocking about. It's quite a damp morning. It's not particularly cold, but it's damp and misty. Very atmospheric. So lovelies, how are we all doing? I hope we're all very well. Yesterday I watched quite an interesting little video by a lady called Elaine at Tarot Tats and Tea. Lovely lady. And she had done a VR to a lady called Nancy from the Crone's Intuition about how much do you notice when you're out and about. Well, if you're anything like me, not a flipping lot, because I tend to be oblivious as to what goes on around me, and I'm that intent on running my errands to get back home, because I'm not very good with people and situations, that I like to go in, do what I need to do and come back out again. I don't like to hang around. I don't like mooching about. It's not me. This all came about because Nancy had a little incident, and it did make me chuckle, in a car repair shop. She'd gone to take her car into service, walked into the waiting room, and nobody looked up. They were either too intent on their phones or too intent on the TV. So she thought she'd go to the little girl's room and realised she'd got her top on inside out. Easy mistake to do. She said, for a split second she panicked because she thought everybody had noticed it. She said, but nobody noticed it because nobody pointed it out. She said, so she wanted to know how much people notice when they're out and about. And like I said, to be honest, before COVID, total oblivion, not a clue, couldn't tell you. When COVID hit back in March last year here in the UK, we all went on a lockdown, apart from me, because I was classed as a key worker. I still had to go to work. So my weeks consisted of going to work every day, popping into town once a week to do a food shop, and taking Miss Lou out for an hour a day for a walk. The first thing I noticed was how quiet it was, because there were no cars on the streets and people were all cooped up in their homes, and it was really quiet. And I likened it to a Sunday afternoon when I was a child back in the 70s, you know, where the shops weren't open and people didn't work all the hours God sends, and people stayed at home on a Sunday. So that's what it reminded me of. It reminded me of a Sunday. There were, mind that hole, Lou, there were no cars and no people about. And on the odd occasion I did see somebody, it was when I was out with Lou, going for a walk. The other things we noticed was, because there were no humans about, the wildlife came back. So we noticed in my garden, a lot of the birds were back. A lot of different birds were back. And you could hear the bird song in the morning without the drone of the traffic. And while I was out with Lou, I noticed the seasons, the different seasons changing. So you notice when the daffodils came up and when the snowdrops came up, and you noticed when the weather was changing, when it was cooling down and the autumn came along and the leaves changed colour and they fell, and it was nice, you know, it was lovely because it was quiet and you notice things more. And that went on for till about June, July this year. And I would think by about January we were starting to come back out into society. You know, we were, even though we were still in and out of lockdown, we were allowed out. As long as you got a mask on, you were allowed out. And the other thing I noticed as well was, once people started to come out into society, it was like they'd forgotten how to act. It was like the Me, Myself and I fan club, and you're the only member. You know, it was from silly little things too. Not saying please or thank you, jumping in the queue, pushing past people. You know, if you were on the bus and somebody got on without a mask, there could have been a very, very good reason as to why that person wasn't wearing a mask. Somebody would take it upon themselves to kick off and shout and scream, you shouldn't be allowed on the bus, you're not wearing a mask. But at the end of the day, if you're wearing a mask, why are you even bothering? There's no need for it. And then we've got the other extremes. From, you know, some poor souls being stabbed to death in the middle of a street because their neighbour has decided he doesn't like the way he bangs his front door in the morning. I mean, come on, people. And I think that's the biggest thing I notice, and I've been saying it for months and months and months, that when we all came out of lockdown, everybody forgot how to act. Everybody forgot how to be round other people. And I'd witnessed quite a few shocking things that I'm thinking, that's not right, you shouldn't have done that. You know, to some poor woman, some poor cashier in the middle of, I don't know, Tesco's, Morrison's, Sainsbury's, wherever, who's being torn to shreds by some woman who's got the ump because they can't, there's no yogurts in, and they're not listening to the fact that they can't get yogurts in because there isn't the drivers to get it from A to B, to get it to their shops, and they're not having it, and they're rowing with them because they think it's their fault. I'm sorry, but it's a very sad world that we live in. It doesn't take 2 minutes to be courteous to somebody. I mean, if you're like me and you don't deal with people very well, you know, you'd rather not have to deal with people, but it doesn't take you 2 minutes to say please and thank you. It doesn't take you 2 minutes to wish a cashier a good day. You know, that small act of kindness might mean everything to that person, because they may have had a really pants day and you've said to them, oh, have a good day, lovely. Might have meant the world for them. So yes, during COVID and after COVID, I've noticed a lot of things that are going on, and although the current situation makes me want to shy away from society, makes me want to sit in my own little bubble, because I do quite enjoy my own company, you know, do what I want to do, it also makes me a little more determined to be a little more kinder to people, to wish that person a good day, to say please and thank you, to hold a door open to somebody. You know what I mean? It doesn't take 5 minutes for us to be pleasant to people. So lovelies, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you've noticed while you're out and about. We are now on our way home for a cup of tea. So I'm going to wish you all a very blessed Tuesday. Please do look after yourselves, lovelies. Take care of one another. You don't know what that other person's going through. Come on, Lou. And as always, sending you much love and many blessings.